Imagine waking up one morning and being told by a powerful group of people that your home, your safe place, your little cabin in the woods, doesn't even exist. Sounds crazy, right? But that's exactly what happened to me. The HOA, the same HOA that's supposed to protect the neighborhood, looked me straight in the eye and claimed my cabin was nothing more than a figment of my imagination. I remember sitting there, stunned. How could they say something like that? My cabin wasn't just some pile of wood. It was my hard-earned dream, my escape from the noise of the world, the place I built memories with my family. And yet, according to them, it didn't exist. At first, I laughed, thinking maybe it was some misunderstanding. Maybe they had the wrong property. Maybe some paperwork had gotten lost. But no, they were serious, dead serious. And when they said it didn't exist, they didn't mean it lightly. They wanted me gone. They wanted my land. They wanted me erased, as if my history there never mattered. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just about a cabin. This was about control. This was about power. And if I didn't fight back, I would lose everything. The HOA sent me a letter first. You know the kind. Cold, official, no emotion, just a bunch of legal words strung together. The letter said that according to their records, no structure was permitted or even recognized on my lot. Therefore, in their eyes, my cabin wasn't legitimate. I was in violation and needed to remove it. Remove it? I stood there holding the letter in my shaking hands, rereading the words over and over. They wanted me to tear down my own home. The anger boiled inside me. How dare they? They had no right. My family had worked too hard for this place. My kids learned to fish by that little creek behind the cabin. My wife and I had spent summer evenings on the porch watching the sun fade behind the trees. Every nail, every board, every corner of that cabin held memories. And now some board of strangers wanted to wipe it away? I wasn't about to let that happen. But here's the problem. When an HOA comes after you, they don't come small. They come with lawyers, with rules, with endless paperwork that seems designed to break you down. That's what they count on. They think ordinary people will get tired, will give up, will cave in. At first, I felt the pressure. I'm not a lawyer. I don't have deep pockets to fight endless legal battles. Part of me thought, maybe it would just be easier to walk away. Maybe I could sell the land, pack up, move on, and start fresh somewhere else. But then I looked at my kids. I looked at the photos hanging on the cabin walls. And I thought, no, this is our land. This is our home. We belong here. That gave me strength. So I went to the next HOA meeting. You should have seen the looks on their faces when I walked in. They thought they'd scare me off with that letter. They thought I'd roll over. But I didn't. I sat down, looked them in the eye, and I asked the question that had been burning in my mind since day one. On what grounds do you say my cabin doesn't exist? The room went quiet. Some of them shuffled papers. One man cleared his throat. Finally, the HOA president spoke up, cool and calm, as if he'd been waiting for this. He said, according to our maps and records, there is no structure on your lot. Therefore, what you call a cabin is unauthorized. It cannot be recognized. I wanted to laugh in his face. What I call a cabin? As if it was some imaginary fort I built in the woods as a child. My voice shook, not because I was scared, but because I was furious. I told them, I've lived there for years. I have proof. My neighbors have seen it. My family has memories there. How dare you erase that with sentence? But they didn't budge. Their answer was the same. Your cabin doesn't exist. That night, I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned, replaying the meeting in my head. Their arrogance, their smugness, the way they looked at me like I was some problem they had to deal with. The truth is, it wasn't about the cabin not existing. It was about them wanting control of my land. If the cabin didn't exist, then in their eyes the land was unused. And unused land? Well, that's easy for them to grab. That thought made me sick. So I decided to dig deeper. If they wanted to play with paperwork and records, then fine. Two can play that game. I started researching. I went through my deed, my tax records, old photos, even letters from when I first bought the property. I wanted every piece of evidence that showed my cabin was real. And then I had an idea. Something so simple, so obvious, that I almost laughed at myself for not thinking of it earlier. The county maps. County records don't lie. They're the official backbone of property ownership. Every boundary, every structure, every lot is documented there. If my cabin was real, and I knew it was, then the county would have proof. Proof the HOA couldn't deny. So I made a trip down to the county office. The clerk behind the counter looked at me like it was just another day, just another person asking for records. But for me, it wasn't just another day. For me, it was a day I was fighting for my family's legacy. I asked for maps of my lot, stretching back as far as possible. She pulled them up on her computer, clicked a few times, and then there it was, clear as day. My land, my lot, and right there on the map, the cabin. Documented, recorded, unshakable proof. I stared at the screen, my heart racing. It was like seeing a lifeline tossed at me in the middle of a storm. I asked for printed copies, sealed and stamped by the county. The clerk handed them to me, and I held them like they were gold. Because to me, they were. I walked out of that office with a smile for the first time in weeks. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't making this up. My cabin was real. And now, I had the proof to shut the HOA down once and for all. But little did I know, the real battle was just beginning. Because when you expose people who try to control you, they don't just back down quietly. They fight harder. They get nastier. And the HOA? They weren't about to let me embarrass them without a fight. But I was ready. CTA end of section 1. And this is where everything changed. I had the county maps in my hands. Proof that couldn't be denied. But the question was, would the HOA accept it, or would they come after me even harder? Stick with me. Because what happened next will leave you speechless. And it might just make you rethink everything you thought you knew about HOA power. Have you ever held proof so strong in your hands that you thought, this is it. This is the end of the fight. Only to realize the battle was far from over? That's exactly what happened to me the moment I walked out of the county office with those stamped maps. I thought I had won. I thought the HOA would finally shut their mouths and back off. But what I didn't know was that my real fight had just begun. When I returned to the next HOA meeting, I came prepared. I didn't just bring one copy of the county maps. I brought 5. I laid them on the table, like a poker player throwing down an unbeatable hand. The room went quiet. Their eyes darted to the papers, and I could tell some of them were nervous. Finally, I had something they couldn't twist with their words. I said loud and clear, here are the official county records. My cabin is there. My land is mine. You cannot erase it. For a moment, I thought I had them cornered. But then the president of the HOA leaned back in his chair and gave me a smile. That smug kind of smile that tells you they're not done with you. He said, county maps may show structures, but that doesn't mean they were approved. We'll need to review this. Review this? I almost exploded right there. What more review did they need? This wasn't my drawing. This wasn't my neighbor's story. This was the county's official record. But deep down, I realized what they were doing. They were stalling. They wanted to wear me down, to make me doubt myself, to drain me until I couldn't fight anymore. But I wasn't backing down. Not this time. Days turned into weeks. Letters kept coming from the HOA, filled with fancy words and legal threats. Every time I opened one, I felt the weight of stress pressing down on me. I could see the toll it was taking on my family, too. My wife asked me more than once, is this worth it? Maybe we should just walk away. And I understood why she felt that way. Fighting powerful people drains you. It steals your peace. But I kept telling her, this isn't just about a cabin. This is about us standing up for what's ours. If we give in now, what kind of lesson are we teaching our kids? That anyone can just take what's yours if they're loud enough. That thought burned in me. No, I wouldn't give them that satisfaction. So I took the fight further. I filed an official complaint with the county, attaching copies of the maps. I explained how the HOA was denying the existence of a legally recorded structure. And let me tell you, when you bring the county into it, things get interesting. Because now, it wasn't just my word against the HOA. It was the HOA against the government's own records. And suddenly, the tone began to shift. The county sent letters back, letters that backed me up. They confirmed the cabin was on record, confirmed the boundaries of my property, and confirmed my ownership. Every document strengthened my case. But the HOA? Oh, they hated it. They doubled down. They started claiming my cabin was a nuisance. They said it ruined the character of the neighborhood. They even hinted that I must have bribed someone at the county to get those records. That's when I realized they weren't just fighting me anymore. They were panicking because the truth was exposing them. One night, I was sitting at my kitchen table, surrounded by papers, when it finally hit me. This wasn't just about my cabin. This was about control. If they could erase my cabin, they could erase anyone's rights. They wanted to set an example, to scare the neighborhood into silence. But by standing up, I was threatening that control. That's why they were fighting so hard. And you know what? That gave me even more fire. Because I wasn't just fighting for myself anymore. I was fighting for everyone who'd ever been pushed around by an HOA, for everyone who'd ever been told to just give up. The next meeting came, and this time, I didn't go alone. I brought neighbors who knew my cabin, people who had been there, eaten meals with us, fished with us by the creek. One by one, they spoke up. They said, "We've been inside that cabin. We've seen it with our own eyes. How can you deny something that clearly exists?" It was powerful. Voices united. Stories that couldn't be erased. And then I pulled out the final card. Not just the county maps, but a certified letter from the county commissioner himself. It stated, in plain English, that my property and cabin were officially recognized and legally recorded. Period. End of discussion. The room went dead silent. Even the HOA president didn't have words this time. I'll never forget what happened next. One of the board members, who had stayed quiet the whole time, finally spoke up. He said, "We can't fight this anymore." He's right. That moment, it was like a crack in their armor. The truth had broken through. And slowly, one by one, the rest of them realized they couldn't win. Not against the county. Not against the truth. The president looked furious, but even he knew it was over. With clenched teeth, he muttered, "Fine, the cabin stays." I can't even explain the relief that washed over me. After weeks of stress, of doubt, of fear, I had won. My cabin was safe. My land was mine. My family's memories were protected. But it was more than just a personal victory. It was proof that ordinary people can stand up to powerful groups and win. Proof that the truth matters. Proof that you don't have to let anyone bully you out of what's yours. When I got home that night, I walked out the porch of my cabin and just stood there, looking at the trees, listening to the quiet of the woods. It felt different now. Stronger, like the land itself was reminding me, you belong here. You fought for this, and you won. And I want you to remember that too, because maybe you're going through your own fight right now. Maybe someone is trying to take away what's yours, your home, your dream, your peace. And maybe you feel like you're too small to fight back. But let my story remind you, you're not. You're stronger than you think. And the truth is more powerful than the lies. CTA final ending. So here's my message to you. Never let anyone convince you that what you've built doesn't matter. Never let anyone erase your story. Stand up, fight back, and protect what's yours, because in the end, the truth will always win. Backhand index pointing right. If this story hit you hard, don't just scroll away. Drop a comment and tell me, have you ever been pushed around by someone in power? And if you believe in standing up for what's right, hit that like button, share this story, and subscribe for more battles that prove the little guy can win. Because together, our voices are louder than theirs.